Hi, and welcome to heaven. This is Raquel Alves and
Julia Cubilda.
and today we have a movie review for you guys. It's been a while.
It has.
That's why it's going to feel a bit awkward at first, but just bear with us. We also are seeing each other in real life, so it might get even more chaotic because of it.
That's true. And it's really funny because we watched a movie together but remotely, but now we're gonna discuss it together, which is really nice.
A month later.
Heaven is back and ready. I feel like this movie is so bad that it is fitting to be recording this around Halloween time because to be honest, it is
Scary.
a jump scare. So
True.
we might not even need to come up with an idea
Yeah,
for the
for
Halloween
Halloween,
episode
because scary enough. This is scary enough. Oh god.
But anyways, the movie we'll be discussing is the one and only It Ends With Us.
A masterpiece, really.
Really?
Really.
We're really popping off of the British accent today.
Sorry, it's my new office. Cough, 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 cough.
Okay. But anyways, for those of you who don't know, It Ends With Us is a movie based on a novel by Colleen Hoover, who's a very controversial writer.
You use quotation marks.
I'm using quotation marks in the air right now, so that you know my stance on this person. But anyways.
Do you have any personal beef that I don't know of?
No, but I just think it's so ridiculous that the person who writes shit like that is like a New York Times best-selling author.
To be fair, that doesn't surprise me that much because everyone is a New York Times bestseller author if you think about it.
Okay, fair. But she's like critically acclaimed, And I'm like,
somehow.
And I'm like, girl, like I literally know personally people who write better than you.
Yeah, true.
Myself included. Humbly speaking.
Modesty aside.
Modesty aside, as always. But anyways, we're not gonna be talking about the book since none of us has read the book.
We thought about it, but quickly gave up on the idea.
No, the movie was bad enough. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. So we'll be talking about the film itself, which is starring Blake Lively and what's his name?
Luca.
The other guy.
It's not Luca.
The director who plays the main guy.
Wait a second.
I'm telling you, it's Luca something.
Wait. Justin. His name is Justin Baldoni.
Oh, Justin! What?
I knew it wasn't like... Wait, what did you say?
Luca.
It's not Luca.
I don't know where this came from, but anyways.
Anyway, I told you guys it's been a while.
Anyways, so the director and Blake Lively, who apparently had beef while producing this movie, which is very interesting. Apparently, they had very different visions as to how the movie should be played out. There was a lot of drama on social media surrounding the whole thing and the release, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's always like what the story is about. Why is it so controversial for a lot of people, and also the whole press? Because I think the press of the movie is also what made it so infamous.
Yeah, that's true. To understand the controversy, you gotta understand the subject matter of the film, which is domestic violence, essentially. So basically, the movie is about a woman called Lily Bloom, played by Blake Lively. Who, guess what? Is a florist. Who would have thought? It was somehow miraculously written for her in the stars, and the name Lily Bloom, it's not ironic at all.
Honestly,
she kind of has an identity crisis and decides to start a flower shop. And she runs into this guy on like a roof of a building after
a party.
Yeah.
No, it's not a party. Wait. Well, we know what we're talking about. No, it was after her father's funeral.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So she had like a bad day and she ends up on the roof looking into the distance. Yeah. And there is a guy who comes out on the roof who is played by Justin. And he's, this like hot macho guy. He's like arguing with someone on the phone, being very I'm the boss.
Kicking some chairs.
The hints of violence are already coming through. Yeah. That's how they meet. And they talk and they just talk about life, and he's like scared that she's sitting so close to the edge of the roof. So he starts talking to her, and then they kiss and make out, but then other people come onto the roof and don't end up doing the deed.
Yeah. But
that night.
Either way, there was sexual tension.
exactly, the tension is there. She's into him, he's into her. We know it. Anyways, fast forward, she's, trying to open a flower shop, and this woman just waltzes in and she's like, I want a job. She's carrying a Birkin bag because totally realistic again. And she's just like, I just want a purpose in life and I want to work here. So they become best friends.
So yeah, she had no other friends until this random woman comes up.
So they become best friends and she helps her open the flower shop. And then it turns out that that guy from the roof is the woman's brother.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Totally not a coincidence. Like such a detailed and elaborate storyline.
Yeah, and then they kind of start to develop like a relationship and eventually do end up getting together. While at the same time, we do get some flashbacks of her life before as a teenager and of her relationship before. And yeah, and then once they get married, I think, or right before, he just starts showing like acts of violence towards her. And yeah, the story kind of goes from there, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And then through the flashbacks, we find out that she was kind of living in a domestic violence household. We find out that her dad was abusive towards her mom, and that she had this friend who later became her boyfriend, so her previous important relationship with the guy named Atlas, who was low-key homeless. Anyways.
Yeah, and at the beginning when she mentioned that and she's like, oh, I lost my virginity to a homeless person, I was like, that's such a big red flag. What the fuck? And then we find out that he was just a boy who ran away from home. Like, that's such a disservice to Atlas. Like, you cannot just tell
I know,
fuck it
such
like
a
that way.
sweet boy too, and she's just like labeling him as homeless. Anyways.
Anyway.
So yeah, so basically like her father didn't love that she was in a relationship with this guy, and they ended it because of that. The dad threatened the boy. Yada yada. Anyways. And yeah, and in the current times, she's dating this guy, and he,
Wait, what's his name again? Ryle.
Ryle, yeah,
Ryle?
such a like basic weird name.
I mean, after Lily Bloom, what can we expect?
Yeah, that's true.
No, our name is Lily Blossom Bloom.
Oh my god. I like, how can someone write this without cringing immediately? I don't get it. But anyways, just to fast forward, this guy seemingly has got it all, he's a doctor, like a surgeon and whatnot, has this like super lavish, perfect lifestyle, perfect guy on paper, like super caring and whatnot. But then, we start seeing signs showing, but we're not really sure if he's like the one being violent or not, or whether it was just an accident, like her burning herself or whatever. But he starts like lashing out.
Falling from the stairs.
Yeah, but he starts like lashing out and being a bit weird and a bit possessive. He's like starting to get a bit sussed out when she's not with him.
And like the jealousy over Atlas because he does reappear in her life at in a restaurant.
Yeah, so Lily and Atlas kind of reunite, so they meet by accident. Turns out they're living in the same town now, and he's a super successful chef, and is also getting going, and obviously his cooking was inspired by her, so it's all interlinked, and he's this lover from the past, and there is their thing between them, and obviously Ryle jealous fuck because Atlas manly, and it's her love from the past. She has a tattoo inspired by him and whatnot. So obviously he gets like a creep, and then Atlas starts noticing that something is wrong, so they have a violent interaction. They fight for Lily, and she's like, oh my god, guys, stop. Stop. And then Ryle wants to make her the mother of his babies.
Yeah.
And he's like,
kind of succeeds.
Yeah, he's like, will you be my wife? And that's when they have, I think, the most like violent interaction.
Yeah.
And he rapes her.
Or attempts to. He never actually did. She managed to run away, but he attempts to.
I feel like he does, no?
No, when he found out the tattoo, because it was like on close to her neck, he actually
bit
her.
He bit her. That was super weird.
That was so weird, like trying to like take it out of her like skin. I was like, okay, cannibal.
So she runs away. Atlas helps her, and then she finds out that she's preggo.
Prego.
Actually, more serious. It's a very serious subject matter.
Prego.
So obviously she finds out that she's pregnant with Ryle. Who would have thought? But she's like, no, I'm cutting all the ties with you. I want my baby to be happy. And then fast forward, she's giving birth in the hospital. She's still friends with the sister, by the way. The sister was like, oh yeah, I kind of knew my brother was an asshole, but I was hoping it would be different this time.
Yeah, as if they always just change after once.
Exactly. And she's giving birth. She gives birth to a girl, and then Ryle comes to the hospital to see the baby because it's his baby. And he's like, I've changed now. I wouldn't want my daughter to be abused like I abused you. I've broken the cycle.
Yeah, he broke the cycle by
Yeah.
continuing and hitting her. But anyway.
Exactly. But then he has this like realization when he sees his daughter that he's like, oh yeah, I actually wouldn't like if a guy threatened to like kill my own daughter, like I did to my own wife, like her mom. Like that's kind of wrong.
But not to my daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So he kind of has an epiphany and he's like, I'm a changed man now. And then, well, obviously they don't end up together, but she kind of forgives him, and that's it.
Yeah, and then she ends up with us.
Yeah, it's kind of like implied that they're together.
Oh, one of the best moments as well is when she's hugging her child, newborn, and she's like, "It ends with us."
Oh, that was so bad. That was so painful when she just said that. I was like, girl.
No, it was terrible. So that's the film. It was just as painful as you were like listening to it.
Yeah, I tried to keep it brief and
Yeah.
light, but honestly, the plot is not plotting.
No, I would say I feel like one of the first things we spoke to one another immediately is that it feels like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, it does.
But then it has this very heavy subject matter, which is the domestic violence itself.
Yeah.
So it always feels very tone deaf to everything.
Yeah, it's like a Hallmark movie with domestic violence in it, which is a very wrong thing to be.
Like a very wrong mix.
Yeah, and the way it's filmed and the way like the costumes are done and everything, it all kind of leans into that Hallmark movie aesthetic too. And you know, like the cheesiness of the names and all of it is just so.
Even the setting and our character types, like she and her name and being a florist in it's not a small town, but kind of has those vibes though.
Yeah.
Like the friend and her husband were like this weird comic relief characters that was just also kind of there.
Oh yeah, that was so weird. Like the sister's husband is and her too, but the sister I can get behind. But the husband was such a like weird character. He would always wear these like super childish clothes and onesies, and just they always were like really ridiculous. And yeah, totally not needed in a film of such a serious matter because it wasn't like realistic either. So they weren't relatable and they weren't useful to the plot in any way.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why do we have it's just cringe? It doesn't add anything at all.
Yeah, it's just weird. I think that's probably where though when we said Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni kind of went a bit on a beef during the production because I feel like he really wanted to make it serious about the abuse and everything, and like from the press we can see that he's really like cares about telling that story and be truthful to it. Did he succeed? That's another story, but like at least he's kind of worried about it. Well, I think Blake Lively wanted something completely different out of this movie, and I think that's why these weird pairings between very tense moments of him throwing her out of a fucking stairs, but then come the sister and other one like ha 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 ha, like coming through with like a weird costume and be like making like a random joke in the middle of the movie, you know.
So weird.
Yeah, so yeah, the tone is word is off-putting, and I think that's because probably one of the reasons, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole media kind of scene around it and the way the movie was marketed as a romantic, like a romance film, essentially.
Yeah.
It just glorifies the domestic abuse part of it so much because obviously the way the movie ends is kind of like he is sort of forgiven for what he's done because he just decides to reflect on it and be like, oh yeah, what I've done was wrong and I wouldn't want my daughter to be hurt in the same way. But obviously this does not excuse that he was violent to her and as is implied to other women in the past. So he was clearly an abuser.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just it's just like so brushed over, and I feel like the whole book in itself and like all of this for me it leans a lot into this genre of book, like fanfic related kind of books and stories that that tend to romanticize abuse and things like that. I mean, I've kind of encountered quite a few like fanfics, and I think it's quite popular in this genre to use abuse as something that's just like a dramatic storyline, and it's kind of looked over and then ends up with a romantic resolution in the end. So
Yeah.
it's like a dramatic factor, but it's not really taken for what it is. It's kind of like brushed off and used as a plot element. And
Yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
felt that watching this movie. It really felt to me like just like, you know, when you have a movie arc and you usually have
Mhm.
the opening, then it's developing, and then you have crisis that happens right before the resolution.
Mhm.
And then here the domestic violence part just felt like the crisis part in the
Yeah.
movie, which is very wrong because it's not just a regular hurdle that you encounter in a relationship. Like domestic violence is a crime and it's a serious offense, and it should be treated as such in mass media as well.
No, I totally agree. And I think you're really like pointing out, I would say, the main issue with the story, both book and movie. Like we focus on the
Yeah.
movie, but like I think you pointed out exactly the same issue that I identified. And later on, I saw like this interview with Colleen Hoover, and she said that, you know, especially responding to a lot of criticism and stuff,
Yeah.
like she goes and says, I write to entertain, I don't write to inform or educate. And I think this basically pretty much says exactly what you're saying, that
Yeah.
she sees the domestic violence as just a mere plot device for her stories, for her romantic stories, and also how she perceives that as possibly entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. And then that just cheapens the value of the story and the film, and but also it cheapens like all this, like for me, like cheapens all the stories of domestic violence that actually do happen, because then if you present it this way in the media, it's how people will start perceiving them. And I just feel like that's very wrong. And then, you know, coming to the marketing of the movie, it very much kind of resonated with that, like the way it was advertised, and you know, and the way Blake Lively was behaving during the press tour was very much like, yeah, bring your girls and wear florals to the premiere, you know.
Yeah.
Bring your girlfriends and watch this fun romantic film about a domestic abuser. I mean,
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, it's very weird. And yeah, we did talk about that. Like, really feel that Blake Lively was looking for her Barbie moment
yeah.
so much with this film, because even her own like method dressing for the press, which has become a bit of a trend, every actor for like any major movies kind of doing it. She was just wearing florals all the time, any like floral motif to represent the story. I mean, that's enough to see how they see the whole domestic abuse subject as so superficial, because their main interpretation of the movie, even on dressing up or promotion, is just flowers because she's a florist.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
That's how deep we're gonna go ever on this story. And you pointed this out to me, that it's true as well on the press, how all the actors and even with the original author, they're all together, but Justin, the director and main actor, is always alone. He never wanted to be part of
Yeah.
villains, and he's the only one who keeps talking about the domestic violence aspect of the movie, while all the other ones are like doing, I don't know, word games, talking about fun
Yeah,
stuff on Glamour, on Vogue, or interviews of this or that. Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
Blake Lively was like promoting her hair care line
Yeah,
and whatnot. I mean, it's just a bit of a joke, really, and there has been a lot of controversy in like Blake Lively's involvement in the creative direction of the film, since I think she was one of the sponsors of the movie.
yeah, yeah.
Financially, like her and her husband. And so obviously that gave her a lot of creative authority over the film. And I mean, I think that was really wrong because
Yeah, perhaps you should have chose something else.
yeah, exactly. Like if you wanted to have your comeback moment in film, I feel like we haven't seen her in like any major films in a
True.
while, and I feel like she really wanted to make this like, big girl comeback, and as you said, have Margot Robbie Barbie moments, and I feel like she wanted different, like she wanted everything and achieved nothing, because I feel
Yeah.
like she wanted to not only have her breakthrough moment as female actor playing a serious role about a serious matter, and she also wanted to have fun, fashion, pop culture moments at the same time,
Yeah.
which is just not fitting. You can't have those both at the same time. Like,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
I mean, To be honest, you probably could, because obviously film is so connected to pop culture in general, but you can go about it in such a different way that's way more attuned to the subject matter of the film, and you can put that forward first and foremost, and then mention the other things and how those influence the main message of the film, which is domestic violence and not a cute romantic story about a woman who owns a flower shop. Like, it's
Yeah.
just two different things, and I feel like she went about it so wrong. And there was a lot of backlash online, and I think after that she posted on her stories, "Oh, if you're a victim of domestic violence, you should blah blah blah, contact this helpline. It's a very serious matter." And I'm like, you're so like tone deaf to what you're doing, and it's so disturbing that even you're inviting, like, young girls and teens and, young women to go see this film, and presenting it as this fun thing to do with your girlfriends, when it's a film about a very serious issues that some of the people who go see it may be experiencing, and seeing it resolve in this way can have so many harmful effects in the end.
Yeah.
Because they will go see this film and be like, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend hit me," but then in the end of the day, he's gonna realize that that was wrong, and we're just gonna go back to normal, and he's gonna live his life as usual and with like zero consequences.
Yeah, because talking about fucking consequences,
He
where
never has
where
any.
is the police?
Yeah, he never gets reported.
Nothing.
No, it's not mentioned at
At all.
all.
Like, he doesn't get reported. There's no charges against him.
Yeah.
The sister knows about it and
Yeah, the
also
sister
does
is like,
nothing.
"Oh shit, it happened again," but also does nothing to prevent it. And
I'm
she's
like,
supposed to be like a girl's girl, but then she doesn't do anything about her abusive fucking brother. So
that actually put me off. Like, why? Like, this is a crime. He hit you. He almost raped you. Like, please, like, why are we not informing the police? Why are we not presenting any charges?
yeah, exactly.
Or
She's
like,
like,
oh, okay, you regret it? Okay, then I'll forgive you. Everything is
yeah,
fine.
it's so harmful. It's such a harmful way to represent it, because it just promotes this kind of behavior and promotes people just, getting off such a horrible thing with zero consequences. And as I said before, like, it totally romanticizes the act of violence, and it's just really wrong.
Yeah, and another thing that I really hate, and I don't think I knew that because I knew a lot of things. I mean, we all knew a lot of things about it before we even watched the movie because everybody was talking about it and the book was already famous. But I didn't know that she actually had a baby in the end. And that part of the plot kind of disgusts me a little bit because they used the baby as almost a metaphor of like her own rebirth and how she can start a new cycle where none of this violence or abuse continues. And I just think it's so wrong or bad for her because you can say, oh, it ends here, it ends with us. But I'm like, no, it doesn't. You're going to be forever
Reminded
not
by
even reminded. You're gonna be in forever contact with your abuser forever because you have a child together.
yeah,
No matter what
exactly.
you do, you're gonna be for even if you're not together, you're gonna remain in contact, and you can speak with any survivor of a domestic abuse or domestic like violence or toxic, even just a toxic relationship. No one wants to be in contact with their abuser ever again. They don't want to see that person ever again. And she deliberately chooses to continue with
Yeah.
that link, and that makes no
Yeah, and
sense.
she's like, "Oh, it's fine. We can co-parent, and you can help me like build the cradle for my baby."
I'm like, I would not want to see that person ever again in my life. I would want them dead, actually.
Exactly. You would have a post-traumatic
No, of
reaction, and
course.
you would never want to be in even the same room alone as they are. And she's just like, "Yeah, okay, I forgive you now. It's all good."
Yeah, as
So,
if like, he forgot like, I don't know, the keys in a park, like, okay, now I forgive you. It was like that was really bad and unsafe for us.
yeah, it's as
And
if,
like,
I don't
no.
know, it's as if like he cheated and she was like, "Okay, fine, we have a baby together, so let's be amicable." It's like,
Yeah.
no, the man trying to like kill you. He
Yes.
threw you down the stairs and threw a piece of furniture or something on top of you. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, that's why I think that's what really made me hate it. Also because having a baby never makes anything better. No
Exactly.
matter like if you're having trouble with your relationship, if your relationship like finish it off, the baby is like the worst thing you could do for anything. And I can't stop thinking to myself that it is a little bit of pro-life propaganda here, that the
It,
baby is like going to make her life
it
better.
is, and again, it's yeah, her keeping the baby again perpetuates this idea of like, yeah, you should the baby
Yeah.
because the baby is like new life and whatnot, and it's just you.
Yeah. And also like sending a message that you can start a new life by putting that onto like a new life, actual life in it.
Yeah,
It's also bad for you because you're now projecting all your failed dreams in a way onto someone else, which is your child, which should have a life of their own and not having to fulfill yours.
yeah, exactly.
Actually. So yeah, that bothered me a lot. No policeman involved also bothered me a
No, that
lot.
was like super
And
bad.
also, we also have like, for example, we also have way more glamorization, I think, of her father.
Yeah, for sure. Because the mom is like, yeah, I loved him in the end.
Yeah, and I'm
Like,
like, what? Also because we've seen on the flashbacks and stuff, like the father was portrayed way more violent actually
yeah.
than
Riley.
Ryle. We saw him like being way more violent than
Yeah,
Ryle
like
was.
super aggressive towards others as well, not only the mom.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we have no the mom being like, "Oh, but it was fine." Or we have her like coming at the end of the movie or towards the end, like giving flowers and be like also kind of forgiving her father in the end.
yeah.
And I'm like, "Are you okay?"
She is in fact not okay.
So yeah, I think there's even more glamorization of the father than her the director
Yeah.
abuser. So yeah, I know, like very weird. And
So
I
weird.
think another thing is what we're seeing about because I feel like this could be a very interesting story because in the beginning everything was fine, right?
Yeah.
And then it became a nightmare. So I feel like that very simple plot line could have been more interesting because imagine you actually are in a very love relationship and all of a sudden one accident happens,
Yeah.
because I think one good thing of the movie was in those first moments because even you and me like we're like thinking, oh, was this actually an accident? The way they filmed it, I think
Yeah, that's true. Where you kind of don't know if what happened to you was abuse or whether it was like your fault or just an accident.
I think those confusions were well done at certain points.
Yeah.
But I think what could have made it much better was actually their relationship itself, because the relationship was also very like purely sexual.
Yeah, that's true. They had like zero emotional connection.
Connection. Yeah, because if you think about it, it's a very big emotional conflict when you really love someone truly.
Yeah, but then they're like
And
abusive
then
towards you.
yeah, and then they do like one, two acts of violence against you, and you're like, it's difficult for you to do like, should I break up? Should I not? Should I give it a chance? Should I not? But I
Yeah.
actually love this person, and this happened only once. Like this type of conflict, we don't really see it much in the movie, exactly because there's no emotional connection between the characters.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
just pure sexual attraction.
It's true.
And I think that would have made it much better. For example, this is like completely different, but there's this song by this artist, Jade, which is called Angel of My Dreams.
Mm.
And it's actually, the song is actually about the music industry, but I felt like the feelings that she puts on her lyrics are actually very similar to what you feel on a toxic relationship, because she keeps saying like, I love you and I hate you. I want you and I need you, but you don't care. You don't care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like kind of things in these lyrics. And then she has like this like buildup of emotion of like this mix of I want you, but you treat me bad, or you do this
Yeah.
and that. And then in the end, it kind of finishes in this big finale of silence saying, but I'll always love you.
Mm.
And it's very like emotionally driven, because you're after all the bad things, you still feel kind of stuck into
Yeah,
continue,
that's true.
and you feel stuck, and in the down feelings after all that like violence you get, you actually still have, but I actually will always love you. It's a perfect definition of a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And it's just a song of like 3 minutes
Yeah.
that made it way more than this film of an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, the film is bad.
Also, it came out late August, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which was also around the time that we had so many worldwide news of those domestic
Oh, yeah, that's
violence.
true. Yeah, like in the UK and everything.
Yeah, like of the athlete, which we mentioned on the other episode.
Yeah.
That French lady whose husband like raped her for like 10 years, drugged her and raped her for 10 years,
Yeah,
and invited over 50 men to the house to rape her too.
that's so
Actually, so many cases of domestic violence came out at the same time, which were extreme, but also showed the true ugliness
Exactly.
of domestic violence that this movie just could not
Yeah, and
comprehend.
how it like happens behind closed doors and how no one notices it until it's too late.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's awful.
We do not recommend that you watch
I
it.
know, no, not at all.
All in all, it is a no from us.
I I would say though it is not a good representation of domestic violence whatsoever. It's a bad movie, but it's not like terrible, terrible. I mean, we had a fantastic time actually watching it.
That's true, but we were watching it ironically, so
That's true, that's true, that's true. But I do have this question of, okay, but why is it so famous and why actually
that's my point.
but there's so many people who actually do love it because the book is not famous for just being bad. The book is famous for being bad and having a lot of people who actually love it.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the phenomenon of it. I feel like the media plays a big part of it. I don't know who in the world decided that Colleen Hoover should be a famous writer, but someone did, and it worked out. And I feel like it's so suspicious. It honestly feels like an industry plant to me. I don't get it. I feel like it should have never happened in a million years. And for some reason, someone picked this book and this story and decided to make it into a film, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it was vetted by multiple people and whatnot. And I don't know, it's kind of like they wanted to make this blockbuster film to make it super popular.
Yeah.
And make it big. And I mean, they kind of succeeded because it was so loud. Everything around it was so big, like the press tour and everything, and the media attention was massive. But then the story is so bad.
Yeah. I actually feel I actually feel the reason why actually a lot of people like it and the reason why it gets so famous, first as a book and then as a movie, is that would this amount of people actually would go see if it was an actual depiction of domestic violence?
That's true.
Probably not, because as we saw on these news and on the news that we can imagine that never come out, it is gruesome, it is
That's
ugly, and it is extremely disturbing. What I mean is that like the book kind of talks about a subject matter that it is digestible for a lot of people to perceive. So but of course with this we also have all the consequences when you make something digestible for someone else and ends up like wrong depicting what the actual true experiences of them are.
Yeah.
But then you can also argue, all right, but like perhaps no one would care if you actually showed the ugliness, because you can see that, for example, with I don't know, like war news. Like no one actually cares, no matter what.
That's true.
You can show the most horrific images. People actually don't even want to look at them.
Yeah,
but
true.
everyone holds out movies about the Holocaust. What
Yeah,
I mean is that
right.
like a digestible story actually reaches more people.
Yeah, like a romanticized version.
Actually does reach more people. Yeah. Of course, it's not great, and I would not want it to be that way. And I would still criticize that it's a bad depiction.
Yeah.
But would it actually reach that many people, or even having so many talking about the issue itself, if it's not in a digestible manner?
That's true. Yeah.
I guess it's a weird balance to be able to pull it off. How can you like depict something correctly, but being able to reach as many people as you can to make a difference? It's complicated. Did they fail? Yes, they did. But
Big time.
They did fail. I'm no way in trying to defend the movie, but I just thought it was like an interesting point to make that perhaps if it was actually very realistic, no one would have, all these people wouldn't actually be able to see it.
That's true.
Yeah, which definitely points the question of like, how much could you do? Should you not have done it all together? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess it's better to talk about it than to not
At all.
and like shine a light on it. And in a sense, like that's a good thing. But then, as I said, it was a great opportunity to use the attention and the voice of these people to even during the press tour to convey a serious issue, but that wasn't done, and it went the other way around. That's why I think there's so much sour taste around it, because it just could have been used as an opportunity to do some good and to shine, a light on a very important issue. And it's just.
And I also cannot, I know the director is tried to make the best of it and tried to focus a lot, but I also cannot take him that serious because he did decide a Colleen Hoover book to adapt.
That's true.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, did you choose the best material to tell the
Yeah, the
story?
source material was not great from the start, you know?
Yeah, so
So,
like I appreciate you have way more efforts in Blake Lively and all the rest of the cast, but at
but
the same time, did we choose the best? No, we didn't.
that's true.
So of course, what does that tell me? It tells me that you also use this as a monetary device, actually, because you
That's
know
true.
the book is popular. You know people are going to go to the cinema to see the adaptation of this famous book talk book.
Yeah.
So can I take it seriously? No,
No,
I cannot.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
On that note, I think that's about it.
Yeah, it's bad. If you didn't watch it, good for you. If you watch it, I'm sorry. To bring back old memories of the bad experience. I would like to say that we did not give any money to this movie. We watched it illegally.
Yes.
And we watched it
Very cracked
a very
version.
cracked version. Oh, what happened in the very beginning?
There's a phone
There was
call.
a phone. Someone was filming that we saw a recording of an actual cinema. And
Yeah, it was pretty good to be honest. Like the quality was not as bad as I expected it to be.
yeah, take account the circumstances.
Yeah, but you can hear like a phone
A phone in the
call.
beginning, like it was an iPhone as well, which started hearing in the recording of the
No, and I
movie.
think you could hear like people talking at
Talking.
some point too, which was very
We're like, oh my
funny.
god, we're gonna get gossip from like, I don't know, like Australia, whatever is this being filmed. That would be
That
amazing.
was amazing. It was an experience overall. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say our experience was great because we were just having a blast every time.
That's true.
So yeah, we suffered, but I think in the end, perhaps it was worth it.
We persevered and here we are. It came around with an episode in the end. So
Yeah, maybe that's why we took so long to do this because we're like, do we really?
that's true. Do we really want to talk about this again? Do we really want to relive this experience?
So yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Yes, let us know what you think. I don't know. I was like feeling like doing a Blake Lively moment of like, so are you Team Ryle or Team Atlas?
Oh my god, did they do that?
No, but I totally would see it.
Oh no way. That's disgusting.
Oh,
Anyways, thanks for listening.
thanks for listening. We will talk to you very soon, I hope. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.